The sun blazed down on Fifth Avenue, painting the gleaming windows of luxury boutiques in a golden light. It was a typical New York afternoon, bustling with the hurried energy of the city. But today, something extraordinary was about to happen. Something that would ripple out from this seemingly ordinary scene, changing lives forever. Inside Lester and Hunt Fine Jewelry, a small, unassuming woman, Patricia Taylor, entered. 75 years old, her quiet demeanor stood in stark contrast to the extravagant display surrounding her. To the sharp-eyed salespeople, she was invisible, just another face in the crowd, easily dismissed. They didn't see the untold story etched on her face, the weight of a secret she carried. They couldn't know that this unassuming woman held the key to a chain of events that would rock their carefully constructed world. A single act of casual dismissal, a moment of arrogant oversight, would unleash a chain reaction. Have you ever felt that sting, that feeling of being overlooked, underestimated because of how you look? It's a painful experience, isn't it? And that's exactly what happened to Patricia. But her quiet strength held a surprising power. Suddenly, a motorcycle roared to life outside, its engine a defiant counterpoint to the hushed tones of the jewelry store. The biker, wearing sunglasses, arrived like a force of nature, a message delivered not in whispers, but in a thunderous arrival. This wasn't just some coincidence. It was karma, swift and undeniable. Patricia, the seemingly insignificant woman, now stood at the center of a whirlwind. The subtle shift in the atmosphere was palpable, a shift from quiet disregard to stunned silence. The arrogance of the salespeople was shattered, replaced by a dawning realization. Imagine the scene, the glittering jewelry, the hushed whispers, then the sudden roar of the motorcycle engine, a stark disruption of the elegant calm. What would you do? Would you see the change unfolding before your eyes? This story, a tale of unexpected twists and surprising turns, is about to unfold. Stay with me as we follow Patricia's journey, from overlooked to unforgettable. Her story is a reminder that appearances can deceive, and that even the smallest spark can ignite a fire that changes everything. The air hung heavy with unspoken words. Dempsey's voice, low and gravelly, sliced through the silence. "Michael," he began, his gaze unwavering, "I saw something special in you when you started, a knack for treating everyone with respect, even amidst the luxury." He paused, the silence growing more intense. "But today you shattered that." Michael opened his mouth, a protest forming, but Dempsey raised a hand, stopping him cold. "No, listen, you didn't just cause a ripple, you created a tidal wave. You humiliated a customer, a woman you didn't even try to understand." Dempsey leaned closer. "It doesn't matter if she was royalty or a stranger. You failed. You failed spectacularly." Michael's head dropped. The weight of Dempsey's words was crushing. A barely audible whisper escaped his lips. "I made a mistake." Dempsey nodded slowly. "A mistake? This isn't some minor oversight we can ignore. Today, you showed us your true colors, and those colors don't match ours." Across the store, Jake moved with effortless grace, his smile a beacon amidst the storm. A wealthy couple, witnesses to Michael's blunder, approached him. The man, attempting to break the tension, asked, "How long have you been here?" Jake's smile widened. "Long enough to know that people matter more than price tags." The woman's eyes shone with understanding. "You know," she said, her voice soft but firm, "after today, we're going to rethink our priorities." A subtle shift had occurred. The unspoken question hung in the air. What truly matters? Had Michael learned that lesson? The answer, for now, remained shrouded in the aftermath of his actions, a stark reminder of the human cost of misplaced priorities. The cafe door chimed, a tiny bell announcing Keanu and Patricia's arrival. Sunlight streamed through the window, warming the cozy interior, already fragrant with coffee and the sweet scent of lemon scones. Patricia smiled, a little mischievous glint in her eye, as she watched her son settle into the chair opposite her. "You know you caused quite a stir back there, right?" she teased. Keanu chuckled, his hand covering hers. "Sometimes, Mom," he said, "a little stir is exactly what people need. A wake-up call." Patricia sighed, shaking her head, but her eyes shone with pride. I just hope he learned something from it, she murmured. Keanu shrugged, a calm confidence in his voice. If he didn't learn today, life will teach him eventually. But what matters most is that you were treated with the respect you deserve. Patricia sipped her tea, her gaze drifting to the bustling street outside. A warmth spread through her, not just from the steaming cup, but from the quiet strength she'd witnessed in her son. It wasn't about the jewelry they'd left behind, it was about something far more valuable. Have you ever felt unseen, unheard, underestimated? It's a painful feeling, isn't it? But Patricia and Keanu's story reminds us. True brilliance isn't always flashy. It's in the way we choose to shine, in the way we stand up for ourselves and for what's right. How have you handled disrespect? What's your story? Share your experience in the comments below. Let's inspire each other with courage and dignity. Let's remind ourselves and each other what truly matters in life. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more stories that will warm your heart and strengthen your spirit. The sunlight glinted off the polished chrome of the city's skyscrapers, a stark contrast to the simple floral dress Patricia wore. She felt a little out of place amongst the perfectly tailored suits and diamond-encrusted watches, but in her heart a fire burned, the thrill of the unknown. Leicester's, a haven of gleaming gold and sapphire, beckoned. Its windows, like shimmering pools, reflected her own hesitant reflection. Taking a deep breath, Patricia pushed open the heavy glass door, the delicate chime a welcome to a world she wasn't quite sure she belonged in. Across the opulent showroom, Michael Edwards, a seasoned salesman with a reputation for discerning, some might say prejudiced, judgment, watched her enter. He saw the simple dress, the slightly worn shoes. A quick, almost imperceptible exchange of glances with a colleague sealed his assessment. This woman, he decided, wasn't one of them. He approached with a practiced smile, a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. His voice, though polite, carried a subtle chill. "Good afternoon, ma'am. Can I help you find something?" Patricia, unfazed, met his gaze with a calm smile. Her quiet confidence was a silent challenge to his preconceptions. Do you think she'll let him dismiss her so easily? What will happen next? The scene was set. The game begun. Patricia wanted sapphire earrings, a special gift. She said it casually, but Michael felt a jolt. Sapphire earrings? Really? He plastered on a smile, though his insides churned. "Of course, ma'am," he said, his voice carefully neutral. He led her to the display case, a chill settling in the air. This wasn't going how he expected. The glittering sapphires shimmered under the lights. Patricia picked them up, her fingers gentle. Michael watched, his expensive Rolex glinting as he folded his arms. A thin smile, barely concealing his disdain, played on his lips. "Handle them carefully, ma'am," he said, that particular tone of condescending politeness dripping from his words. "These aren't everyday items. Quite exclusive, you see." He held out his hand, a silent request. "Perhaps something more suitable for your circumstances?" Patricia continued to admire the earrings. "The craftsmanship is exceptional," she murmured. Michael scoffed. "Exceptional craftsmanship comes with an exceptional price," he said, his eyes raking over her simple floral dress, assessing her like a customs agent scrutinizing a smuggled diamond. Not exactly the kind of accessory one wears casually to, say, senior center events. The question hung in the air, sharp and uncomfortable. Did Patricia feel the sting? Did she even care? The air crackled with unspoken tension. This wasn't just about earrings anymore. It was about something far bigger. What would she do now? The air crackled. Nearby, heads turned. Michael's words, sharp as broken glass, hung in the hushed elegance of the jewelry store. Jake, the young sales associate, pretended to polish a display case, his ears burning. Patricia, her face a still pond reflecting the harsh light, met Michael's gaze. "I know fine jewelry," she said, her voice calm but firm. "I've handled pieces like these for years." Michael scoffed, a cruel twist of his lips. "Oh, really? Working in a dressing room, perhaps?" He glanced pointedly at a well-dressed couple, their faces flushing with discomfort. "These aren't just pretty things," he continued, smoothing his expensive blazer. "They require a certain financial commitment. Patricia held his stare. I still want to try them on. Michael's composure faltered. Let's be clear, he said, each word precise and cutting. These earrings cost $30,000. $30,000. He paused, his voice dripping with disdain. More than your entire wardrobe, your handbag, probably your entire monthly check combined. He gestured to her worn purse. An older man in a sharp suit winced. A hush fell. Then Michael barked, Sir, I've got this. He turned back to Patricia. Zales might be a better fit for you. They have lovely cubic zirconia. Much more age and income appropriate, he added, a brittle smile twisting his mouth. Patricia's hand moved slowly, deliberately. She began to unclasp one of the exquisite earrings. The silence was heavy, thick with unspoken things. Do you think she felt defeated, or did she rise above his petty judgments, showing him the true meaning of class and inner strength? What did you think? The air hung thick with unspoken words, a tension sharper than any diamond cutter's blade. It's not about the price, Michael spat, his voice a whiplash. It's about belonging. This place, he sneered, sweeping a manicured hand across the gleaming store, is light years beyond your reach. I know a serious buyer from a pretender. I've seen enough pretty women playing dress-up. He snatched the earrings. Now leave. I have customers who can actually afford to be here. A heavy silence descended. Even the security guard, usually stone-faced, fidgeted. Patricia stood tall, her chin lifted. Young man, she began, but Michael cut her off. Don't make a scene, he snarled, his voice dripping with contempt. The door's behind you. And next time, he added, a cruel smile twisting his lips, stick to window shopping. It's free and saves everyone a lot of wasted time. Then, a roar. A motorcycle's thunderous engine cut through the suffocating silence like a bolt of lightning. The security door hissed open. But sometimes, justice is as glittering and unexpected as the finest diamond catching the light. 30 seconds. That's all it would take for Michael to learn that arrogance carries a price far beyond any earthly currency. The rumble of the motorcycle echoed across the marble floors of Lester and Hunt, silencing every breath in the store. Do you think he was about to find out just what that price would be? The heavy oak doors swung open, revealing a man in a worn leather jacket, a motorcycle helmet tucked under his arm. A hush fell over Lester and Hunt, the air thick with unspoken questions. Michael, initially sneering, recoiled. His face, a mask of disdain moments before, blossomed into a wide, almost frantic smile. Mr. Reeves, what an unexpected pleasure, he stammered, practically tripping over his own feet as he scurried away from Patricia. Welcome. Let me show you our... But Keanu Reeves wasn't listening. His gaze, warm and intense, found Patricia. A smile, brighter than any diamond in the store, lit up his face. Mom, he said simply, his voice cutting through the hushed expectancy. He enveloped her in a hug. Sorry I'm late. Fifth Avenue traffic was a nightmare. The word Mom echoed, shattering the carefully constructed facade of the showroom. The blood drained from Michael's face. He grabbed a nearby display case for support. A nearby couple, previously engrossed in expensive necklaces, suddenly became fascinated by the intricate carvings on the case. Patricia's voice, calm and unwavering, filled the silence. It's quite all right, dear, she said, her quiet dignity a stark contrast to Michael's humiliated retreat. This gentleman was just reminding me of the importance of knowing one's place. Wasn't he, Michael? The unspoken question hung heavy in the air, a silent challenge. Did Michael truly understand his place now, witnessing this simple act of love and family? The answer, visible in his ashen face, was undeniable. The air in the jewelry store thickened, heavy with unspoken words. Keanu's gaze, steady and unwavering, pinned Michael to the spot. Michael, the salesman, took an involuntary step back. The silence hung, thick and suffocating. Keanu's voice, quiet but resonant, filled the space. Did you know? Michael's mouth worked, but no sound escaped. Sweat glistened on his forehead despite the perfectly controlled temperature. He stammered, I had no idea, Mr. Reeves. That's the problem, isn't it? Keanu's voice remained soft, yet firm. You didn't know, he repeated, each word a carefully placed stone. You didn't know she dressed Hollywood's biggest stars. You didn't know she raised me, teaching me the importance of respect. You knew nothing about her, yet you judged her unworthy. Jake, a younger associate, stepped forward, a lifeline in the tense atmosphere. Mrs. Taylor, he offered smoothly, if you're still interested, I'd be happy to show you our sapphire collection. We have some breathtaking new pieces that would perfectly complement your eyes. Michael's glare, sharp with betrayal, was directed at Jake, but Keanu's nod was a silent endorsement. Patricia, ever graceful, gently touched her son's arm. Actually, dear, she said, her voice calm amidst the storm, I think we've seen enough jewelry for one day. How about coffee at that little place on the corner? Keanu's smile held the warmth of understanding. Of course, Mom. Do they still have your favorite lemon scones? As they turned to leave, Keanu paused, his gaze lingering on Michael, who seemed to shrink into his expensive suit. Can you imagine the weight of that silence, the unspoken questions hanging in the air? This wasn't just about a sale. It was about respect, empathy, and the unseen stories that surround each of us. What would you have done? The quiet jewelry store held its breath. Keanu's voice, calm and strong, filled the space. You know, he said, looking at Patricia, what's really valuable about jewelry? It's not always the glitter. He paused, a gentle smile playing on his lips. Sometimes it's about how you live, how you treat people, your character. My mom taught me that. He shrugged, a hint of wistful pride in his eyes. No price tag on that, huh? A final buzz. The security door hissed shut, leaving only the steady tick-tock of Michael's expensive watch, a counterpoint to the sudden silence. It was a silence that spoke volumes. Michael's career choices, once so clear, felt suddenly different. The store manager, appearing from his office, cleared his throat. Michael, my office now, he said, his voice crisp and formal. Jake watched from the window. Keanu was helping his mom onto a motorcycle, handing her a helmet with a reassuring smile. He couldn't hear their laughter, but he saw it, pure joy radiating from their faces. Turning back, he saw the wealthy couple who had watched the whole scene. Their eyes lingered on their luxury purchases, a newfound uncertainty in their expressions. Don't you think sometimes, Jake wondered, the most precious things aren't wrapped in fancy boxes? He watched as Keanu carefully placed the helmet on Patricia's head, her happy expression a silent testament to their bond. He secured the straps with the tenderness of a devoted son before swinging onto the bike himself. The image stayed with Jake, the glint of sunlight on chrome, the carefree joy of a mother and son, a moment worth more than all the jewels in the store. The dust swirled behind them as Patricia and Michael rode away, leaving behind a street simmering with unspoken words. A quiet strength hung in the air, a stark contrast to the tense scene they'd just left. Jake watched them go, then turned back to the store, the hushed murmurs of customers a dull background hum. Michael stood frozen, his hands shaking, clinging to the glass counter. The forced smile, his usual shield, had crumbled, leaving him looking small, vulnerable. Jake, quietly wiping a nearby display, couldn't help himself. Well, he said, a wry smile playing on his lips, that was a lesson, wasn't it? Michael's head snapped up. Don't, he muttered, his eyes flashing with a blend of anger and embarrassment. Jake shrugged, leaning against the display case. I'm just saying, he gestured towards the still swinging door, that was a textbook example of, well, being human. Michael sighed, the sound heavy with regret. Before he could speak, Mr. Dempsey, the manager, strode from his office, his face a thundercloud. His gaze locked onto Michael, disappointment etched deep in his lines. Michael, he said, his voice low and firm, we need to talk, now. Michael shot a quick glance at Jake, who offered a tiny, almost imperceptible nod, a silent, good luck. The manager's office felt suffocating. Mr. Dempsey closed the door with a decisive click and sat heavily in his chair, his posture rigid. Michael stood, speechless, the weight of the situation pressing down on him. You know, Michael, Mr. Dempsey began, his voice laced with unspoken understanding. Didn't he? Could Michael even begin to explain what had just happened? The silence hung thick, heavy with expectation.